So rather than doing a game first, I want to quickly go over some settings because we've already actually done a game which is going to go out after this, and we came across some issues in game. I think are more settings issues than really player knowledge or player skill. So we're going to quickly go through the settings. I'll go over the settings I have that matter and the reason for those settings. You don't necessarily have to have the same settings I've got, but it's a good way of. It's a good place to start. So first of all, work out what stop is. There's the H key that'll make you just stand still. And occasionally you'll TP in, realise it's a bad idea, and you want to stop that halfway through. It's H usually. Not all of my controls are the default, so don't rely on this. Listening to this.
No.
You need to ask questions if you don't get something. Right. Another important one is select hero. Now in my case that's the spacebar. If you double tap the select hero, it will center the camera on your hero.
Yep.
And if you hold it when you've pressed it twice, it will follow your hero. So the camera will move with your hero. So most of the other ones don't really matter on this page, except pause. The rest of them are. These are kind of the control group ones are kind of a micro in. Can you open the settings page and follow these with me because I want you to check your settings. So we can go on to advanced hotkeys. Again, most of these don't matter a great deal. Because most of these are ones that aren't really time sensitive. You might want to look at camera movement. You can edge pan. In my case, I have W, A, S, and D as my camera movement. If you're using the setup where you have Q, W, E, R for your abilities, you probably want to put them on a different set of keys. But being able to move the camera without moving your mouse is really helpful. So it's probably a good idea for you to set camera movements up. And otherwise, on this page, not really worth it. So let's go on to options. This is where a lot of them seem to start to get important. So if you look on the options tab, the first one you come across is auto attack. Now what this does is whenever you cast a spell or perform any other action, your hero will automatically attack the nearest enemy unit. Now that can be that can be good and it can be bad. Now the reason it's bad is if you're standing in lane, you don't want to keep attacking the creeps, you want to stop attacking the creeps and only attack them when it's time to last hit. Most players will have this off. You don't have to, but you want to be aware that you don't necessarily always want to attack. The difference is if you do turn this off, whenever you cast a spell, you will then have to right-click an enemy hero to attack them. So I prefer this off. Most players prefer this off. It's a matter of personal taste. There are some pro players who play with auto attack turned on, but most people find it easier to have it off. It's just you have to remember to right click after basically after everything you do. So that's kind of why it's useful to have it on. So auto select summon units you probably usually want off until you're going to really play around with micro heroes, which I don't recommend for a while. Have this turned off, it's just going to get confusing. Okay, double tap ability self-cast. You'll pretty much always want that turned on, because there's a lot of abilities that you can cast on yourself or your teammates. For example, a healing salve, and just by spamming the hotkey twice, that will use it on yourself. So things like healing salves and clarities, things that you use on yourself a lot, you just double tap the item hotkey, and it uses it on yourself. So you probably want that enabled. Just stop me if there's any you don't follow here or I'm not making sense, okay?
Yeah.
Now, smart double tap is kind of more for advanced players. It's for saving clicks when you get into faster play. We can ignore that. Unified unit orders with control. What this does is any order you give to move your hero or attack an enemy,
Yeah.
it issues the same order to any units under your control. So if you have illusions, or if you if you have a hero that can clone itself, or you take control of a jungle creep, anything like that, it will issue the same attack command to all your units. This is the only one. This is the only bit of micro I think every player should learn. To enable this, and just whenever you have illusions and you want to tell them to attack a particular person or move to a particular part of the map, you hold control, and then you right-click on the person you want your illusions to attack, and it allows you to have control, at least a small amount of control, over what your units attack, without having to go into all the micromanaging all your individual units. Okay, the next one is teleport requires hold stop. Now, is that turned off by default on yours?
No.
No, right. This is a very popular one. It used to be off by default. Basically what it means is when you TP, you can cast an ability while you're TPing, and the ability will sort of be queued up to after you're TPing. If this is turned off though, casting the ability will cancel the TP.
Oh.
And obviously, usually you'll want to TP in, and if you're going to TP in and stun someone, for example, this by queuing it up, it allows you to save time when you come in, so there's no moment of being vulnerable in a fight before it can happen. So, right-click to force attack. Is that turned on or off?
Off.
Off. Right, you probably want to turn that on. So, do you know how to deny creeps yet?
No, I don't even know what it means.
Right, denying creeps is when you attack your own creeps, and what that does is it halves the amount of experience that the enemy gets by being near them.
Mm-hmm.
And normally to do that you have to press the attack button of whatever you've got on your hotkeys, it's usually A, and then click on a creep. But by enabling this, all you've got to do is right click on one of your own creeps when it's time to deny them. So make sure that's enabled, we'll get to that later. Now quick attack and quick move, we can skip. You can read them if you like, we'll skim them. They're more a matter of personal preference, as are all the camera controls. Now minimap. Minimap's kind of an important one. If you hover your mouse over the Alt button that's there, it will show you what will happen on the map when you hold Alt. Typically, I find the best way to do this is to have simple colours disabled. Is it enabled by default?
No.
No. Okay, so you can look at what colour heroes are at the top. You know, they have a little colour bar above each hero.
Mm.
And then you can tell by their colours who they are. Or you can hold the Alt button and it will show you the icon for that hero. I have that disabled so that you could have that up all the time if you want to, but you can't see what direction people are facing. You know how they sort of have this little pointer. It shows you which people are facing, so if you get a flash of somebody on the minimap just for a moment, you can tell which way they're heading.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can hide minimap background if you want. That's a matter of preference. It's kind of it just clears all the junk off the minimap. I prefer to have used simple minimap. If you just toggle that on and off, you'll see what I mean by it looks different.
Yeah.
I prefer use simple minimap because there's not as much junk on the minimap, so it's clearer when you want to look at it.
Okay.
You can enable extra large minimap if you like. I think most people prefer without it. It won't give you a preview of it. Basically, where you've got the minimap in the corner, it's about 10% larger. Makes it a little bit easier to read, so it might be a good idea for new players. Most players will have the standard size minimap because you want as much space to see things on the screen as you can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right, so use Alt to show hero icons. That's the bit I was just on about. If you hold the button, it shows you their faces.
Yep. You
can invert that if you like. So holding Alt will change back to their colours rather than the icons, but I think that's the wrong way to do it. It's up to you. You have it either way. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so interface. Do you have all four things in the interface enabled?
Yep.
Okay, well that's good. You should do. The rest of the stuff further down on interface is kind of doesn't really matter. So, can you see the two advanced options at the bottom? let's go to that. Let's review that. Now, where you've got another auto attack here, and this one's for summoned units. This will depend on which heroes you like to play, but for new players, I find it's usually better to have this on standard. Which means your unit will just keep attacking things near it, or it'll attack things after it's killed its original target.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want to turn that off, because if you've got a hero that you really need to micromanage its control, then you'll want to turn that off. But you won't be playing any heroes like that for a while. Disable auto attack, so we can leave that as default. Toggle auto, we leave that. Quick cast on key down, we can leave that. Smart attack move, is that turned on?
No.
Right, I would turn that on. Basically what it does is if you press the attack key, which I think for you is A, and then click on the ground, your hero will attack the unit closest to the cursor.
Okay.
Just kind of speeds things up, but we don't need that. Do you have Bring Dota 2 to the front when match is found enabled?
Nope.
Enable it, please. So that means if you tab out when you're searching for a match, it'll automatically tab back in.
Okay.
Enable the next one as well if it's disabled.
And pick phase begins.
Yeah. Okay. You can in the social section, you can expose public match data if you like. It's not. It doesn't really matter. It just means there are websites that can analyze your stats, and we can view them on things like Dota Buff. But the rest of that doesn't really matter. In the network section, set that to high-end network. You have a high-end network.
Yep.
Okay. Now, in the miscellaneous section, what's your misclick protection time?
20.
Right. If I was you, I would turn that all the way up. What you'll find when you've been playing Dota for a while, when you're on the Radiant side and you're trying to run away towards your base, what you'll do is you'll move your mouse to the bottom left-hand corner of the screen and right-click to run. But sometimes what happens is you accidentally catch the corner of the map.
Yeah.
And because you end up clicking the top right-hand corner of the map, instead of running away from the enemy, you'll run towards their base.
Okay.
So what this protection time does is it doesn't let you click on the map for the first 0.4 seconds, or what have you got it set all the way up, 0.5? Yeah, so in my case, I've got it on 0.4. It means for 0.4 of a second, I can't right-click on the map. So if I'm doing it in a rush, just trying to run away, and I'm accidentally clicking on the map, it won't make me run towards the enemy. That is one of the best additions to the game ever, because I used to run towards the enemy accidentally all the time. Loads of people did. That's why it exists. Okay, I don't think the rest of the stuff really matters. Display network information, that's... no, we don't really need that. You can see your FPS if you really want to by enabling that. Okay, I think we're all good then on that page. Otherwise, you got any questions?
Not at the minute.
I think we're all good then. Let's say most of those things will be okay. We've sorted out your keyboard issue, so on to playing games then.
Wait, what about the audio? Because you said you needed to sort that out earlier.
Okay. Is your basically what I was concerned about was when I'm coaching you, can you hear me clearly, or is the game too loud? Okay, that's fine then. All I wanted to make sure was that when people are casting spells in fights, the game isn't so loud that you can't hear me.
Yeah, I'm okay.
I usually always have the music turned down in the games as well, so I can hear all the effects and stuff better.
Yeah.
Matter of personal preference. Do you want to enjoy the fantastic music of Dota? Or would you like to be able to hear the poof of somebody blinking in to attack you?
Okay.
Personally, I'd like to hear the poof of somebody blinking in to attack me better. But personal preference. So, anything else?
No.
Right. Okay. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the game. Bye bye.